What's up, guys? Thank you for going on a drive with me today. I am in a Toyota. This is a 2025 Toyota 4Runner, and it is actually the first year of the new 6th generation 4Runner. The 5th generation 4Runner had been in production from 2010 up through the 2024 model year. So that's 14 years between redesigns. That's a lot of time. That's almost double the average length between redesigns in the auto industry. So what do we get for all that time? What is new after all that time? So obviously this interior is entirely brand new. The 2024 and older 4Runner was really showing its age. It had a long-standing history of bulletproof reliability, but its interior felt like it was from 2010, and that was really evident as soon as you sat down. So the very first thing you notice here is that this screen is large and in charge, right in your face. The interior motif in here, as we sit at the stoplight, is blocky, straight lines, chunky angles. It really references everything on the outside, on the inside of the car. We have a lot of cohesion from outside in, and that's because of all these blocky angles and straight lines. It's very much referencing outside in, and I like that. I think it creates a really cohesive feel when you're in this car. Now, the big differences outside of the interior tech, which is a huge difference, but the really big difference that people talk about is the difference in engines. So for most of the 5th generation's life, we had a 4-liter V6. Now, Toyota, like it's been doing across all of its lineup, it's been making engines smaller and it's been adding turbos. So now in this generation, we have a 2.4 liter turbo 4, and that's not making a ton of, die-hard fans of the 4Runner very happy. But let's talk about that, because Tacomas used to be all V6s, now they're turbo 4s. Sequoias and Tundras used to be V8s, now they're turbo 6s. Even the Camry, last generation, you could get a V6 Camry if you wanted. This gen, they are all hybrid 4s, no alternative. So Toyota's been doing it across the lineup. It's part of their new strategy. We'll see in time how it pans out for them. But what does it mean with the actual stats and numbers? So this engine is a 2.5 liter turbo 4. We get 278 horsepower, 326 if I had the hybrid iForce Max. Compare that to 270 in the older 4Runner. Also compared to the older 4Runner, that got 16 to 17 miles per gallon combined. This gets 21. And lastly, towing, 6,000 pounds in this one, 5,000 pounds in the older one. So on most levels of stats, it is better. Now the question is the reliability enough to make that trade-off to an older, larger, less efficient engine? Are you willing to trade off that decade plus of reliability, long-term trust in that engine? And that's something I guess every buyer is going to have to make for themselves. The 4Runner for 2026, the SR5 starts at just over 40,000. I think it's 41 and some change for the SR5. This is the limited trim, which priced out exactly how this one is about $63,000. So I am not on off-road trails today, but I think most people buying the limited trim of the 4Runner are probably doing exactly what I am. They are on suburban roads, they're on highways, they're in grocery store parking lots. So I feel like this is still a pretty realistic use case for this vehicle, or this trim at least. This is not the TRD Off-Road or the TRD Pro. So you can see my driving stats here. I've driven this car almost 600 miles over 16 and a half hours. Of those almost 600 miles, I'd say about 500 of them were highway miles, and my fuel economy is averaging about 20, just under 20. So I would expect that to be just a little bit higher, but it's not crazy. It's not super off the mark for that 21 combined EPA rating. A little bit more about the interior. This screen, I think it's a little bit too big. You can call me crazy, but I think there's a point when screens become too much, and for me, this is just a little bit too much. It's bigger than it needs to be. It makes your eye hunt around the screen to look for the information you need. Instead of it all being in relatively the same place, you kind of have to search where you're looking. The navigation, the onboard Toyota navigation is pretty good. I'm using it over CarPlay, over Google Maps to show what the Toyota system actually looks like. It puts what you need closest to where your eye is going to be, and it has the directions very big right there. Exit Walnut Street, that's not bad. But when you get into the settings, it's just everything is huge, and it doesn't really take advantage of the huge screen. It kind of, I don't know, it just feels a little bit overwhelming to me and not useful. If a screen wants to be huge but useful, great. But this screen feels huge to be huge, not because it's needed. So that's my opinion on that. This limited trim does have the optional third row, and when I say optional, I mean that it is optional. It is to be used only in a pinch, when you really need to get something, to get someone in there for a little bit and you just don't want to take two cars. This will get you by. So thanks for going on a drive with me. Let me know, what do you think about this engine? Do you trust a Turbo 4 over the tried and true V6? What amount of efficiency gains are enough to make you jump ship to a new engine? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.